all the nerds and turds out there. This is Indie's Nuts Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Fontana, and I have lost my voice for a multitude of reasons. Number one, the pollinating. Number two, the Rangers won Game 7 and advanced to the next round of the playoffs. So it's just a combination of both, but that's not why you're here. You're here to talk about indie games. And my two brosifs from other Mosifs are here to do that with me. And over there, it's Andy Asimakis. How are you, Andy?
We'll do all your talking for you.
I got this.
I feel my soul is hurting.
I just love how he opened it up like a heel, like pandering to the crowd. What's up, nerds and turds?
The other voice that you're hearing and the face that you're seeing is Mr. Enough, aka Matt Murray. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be part of what is happening right now.
I want to clear my own throat. That's what it feels like. I have the problem.
Yeah, like you have like sympathy throat clearing you need to do.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I guess, but I'm sorry, listeners, if you're just constantly going like just to yourselves with me in your ears, I apologize. It's not even that I'm under the weather. It's just the pollen that is happening in New York City right now. Everything is covered in green and yellow. It's ridiculous. And my voice is just suffering for it. I sleep with the windows open and a window fan, and it just literally took the pollen from outside and gently laid it across my face as I was sleeping at night for the last 3 days in a row.
It's not even sexy phlegm. It's like dying witch.
No, yeah. it's just gone. Like it's weird. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Indies Nuts Podcast. This is the internet's #1 indie game news, reviews, and previews podcast starring three knuckleheads you've never heard of, probably. The show records live each and every Wednesday night on our channel, on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/dual-screen streams, and posts each and every week on your podcast listening service of choice. And of course, the video on demand goes up 24 hours later on youtube.com/Dual Screens TV. If you want to be a part of our community, all you have to do is really just listen to the show and all that stuff. But if you want to be a part of our VIP Discord, it's very easy. Go to patreon.com/NDS podcast, just like our Patreon producers, Colton the Apprentice Nestler and FNH Paul, whom I met in person for the very first time last week and weekend.
Sick.
And he is just a lovable human being. I finally gave him, after 2 years, his Patreon producer care package.
Yes.
So he finally has that in his hands.
Oh my
he enjoyed it. He got a Bob Ross wig because he does a Bob Ross skit on his streams, which you can check out. FNH Paul, twitch.tv/FNH Paul. I gave him the set of Gwent deck of cards, the 2 sets, the blue and the red. Just a bunch of other stuff that I had lying around the house, basically, that I thought he would really enjoy. So yeah, he's got that. But you could be in our VIP Discord for as little as $1. You get bonus episodes, early access to the Dual Screens podcast, which is our flagship show, where we interview indie developers. And man, Andy, we have a metric shit ton of great shows coming up. Why don't you tell everybody about what's coming up on the Dual Screens podcast?
Oh my God, let's see. Well, this Friday we have our interview with Tate Multimedia, creators of KO the Kangaroo, which is an amazing game. I'm playing it right now. It's incredible. You're gonna love it. We also have interviews with a game called Macho. It is a match 3 first-person shooter.
Yep.
That sounds very interesting.
It's all I'm gonna say.
Let me just put it this way. What you're thinking, it's probably not that, because my initial thought was like, you have the shooter guy on top screen and you have a match 3 puzzle on the bottom. No, that's not what this is.
Am I like
yeah,
like literally like shooting my matches?
Yeah, the enemies are all
the 3 color types, and then boop.
Yep, and then they could finally, and you could like combo them more chains, and but it's fantastic, and you got to listen to that show because it's going to be it's a phenomenal concept and really a great show.
I love. Yeah, that sounds up my alley.
Hells.
What else we got on the pipeline? Axolotl.
Axolotl. Yep.
You play as an axolotl with an AK, and you go on a killing spree to get food because you're a hungry little guy. That's like, it plays like Enter the Gungeon style, like top-down shooty roguelike kind of
Yep.
game. Demon Throttle, Gunbrella, Cult of the Lamb,
Yeah.
Eternal Exodus. So many great games that we're covering on the podcast, you guys. So many great stories that they're sharing, and
Indeed.
a lot of good shit coming down the pipeline this
Yeah,
summer.
it's a lot of bangers.
Yeah.
Speaking of great games, let's get into the indie game adventures. Last week I mentioned that I would be playing a couple of games, and I have a report on both of those games. Mini Motorways is fucking dope. It's so good. It's exactly what you think it is, made by sorry, that cough just completely threw me off.
Yeah.
I'm getting like a weird tickle. Anyway, Mini Motorways, it's cheap and it's fantastic. They added really cool modifiers, traffic lights and roundabouts and highways that connect further points of the map together. It's such an easy game to play. So easy game. Such an easy game to like play, but really difficult to master. It's very chill, very zen. I cannot recommend it enough. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, however, is as far as the eye. Which is a really interesting concept on paper. Like, it's a turn-based strategy game where you're going along the map looking for resources to build the thing to get to the next part of the map, the next like grid. So you're moving pieces around, kind of like Civilization.
Okay.
And you give them like if you'll be like, hey, this bridge we need 10 or 1,000 wood and we need 300 stone. So you'll go around with your little characters, and one might find a forest, and there's random things that could happen. The forest could get struck by lightning, like, you know, go on fire, all that stuff. But like then you'll tell that character, okay, your job is to get wood from this forest. So then your character will get wood, and then you have to like tell it to go drop it off at the caravan. And while your other character is going and exploring, and you may come across the quarry or whatever, a mountain, whatever the hell it is, and you could tell it to get the rocks. All of that's cool, except it is so difficult to navigate the menu in this game. It's like you can't see what you're highlighting as far as text goes, because it's non-responsive to left, right, up, down, the bumpers, whatever. The menus chug worse than an EA sports game. Like it's remarkable to me. But what this game does have is a ton of charm and a really interesting premise, but it doesn't really keep things interesting enough. You're really doing the same thing. You're going out, you're clicking tiles, you're finding a thing, and then you're getting the thing, and all while this timer is approaching you. And if you don't get your resources in time, the world basically floods. So you're trying to get to the next higher mountain, or you're trying to travel as far as the eye can see, to get away from this impending flood. I tried to play it on my stream, and it was really hard for me to like do what I want the game to do. So I can't necessarily recommend it right now. I'm going to play it a little bit more to see if maybe there's a patch or like something like that, or maybe it was just what I was interpreting as far, because I was playing what they call the chapters, which are really just a tutorial. Each chapter shows you like a different mechanic of the game, and I was just so frustrated by the third chapter. I was like, why isn't this working? Why can't I move? There's no like, are you sure? Yes. Or, what does this, how do I just say, okay, do the thing, just that kind of thing. I feel like this would be a perfect like keyboard and mouse type situation. It just doesn't really play very well. I was playing it on the Switch, if that matters.
Is this a full release game? Like, it's not like, well, yeah, you said you played it on the Switch.
Yeah, it's fully released. It's not phenomenal.
I wonder if some of the chug has to do with the Switch.
I mean, it could, but it doesn't seem like it's a very resource heavy game. Like, it's got a very minimalistic, cute little art style. It's turn-based, so there's not a lot moving at the sorry, I hit my microphone. There's not a lot moving or happening at the same time. It's like, I don't know, it's not a particularly high-res game,
Yeah, where would the load be if that was true?
I think it's just it's either got to be doing a ton under the hood, or it's just not very optimized very well, which it could very well be. I do want to point out something. I put it on my list as well. I didn't play it or anything like that, but it is on my list to play for next for next week. There is a game jam game that I just caught on Twitter today called Iron Guardian. It's on itch.io, and it is The Last Guardian, but a giant mech suit. It's you, a pilot, and a giant mech suit. This was made as a game jam, and it is now like it's got its full like first little release into the world on itch.io, which it's one of those games that you could just pay whatever you want to try.
Is the mech suit like sentient and follows you around and does shit for you?
You get in it.
You get in it, but you also have it move around the map and meet you places that it can't go. Kind of like Panzer Paladin.
Oh,
I don't know. I didn't play it, but it's like,
I gotta tell you,
What's it called again?
It's called Iron Guardian.
Yeah, looking at this, it blows my mind that something like this was put together in 10 days.
Yeah, they made it in was it Unreal 4? I think. What did they use it? No, it was built with Game Creator 2 in Unity 2021. An HD render pipeline. I mean, it's one of those things that like this is something you keep your eyes on, because this is a concept. Basically, it's a demo. It's a concept, but this is the kind of thing that in 2 years from now could be a massive indie darling.
Definitely.
Massive indie darling. It looks like it's using store-bought assets, obviously, because it is. But like, it's beautiful. It looks like it has an idea of what it wants to be.
This is interesting,
right?
Mm-hmm. You can like upgrade the mech and
put
attachments on it. Holy shit! Okay, this screams a future guest to me right now.
I hope I hope this becomes a project that this team or this collective keeps up with. But yeah, that was just something I wanted to bring to the table. It's not necessarily a Kickstarter, but it's something that you could play right now. Maybe, Andy, we do a dual screens demo video.
Yeah. You know that Itch has an actual launcher?
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that until very recently. I was like,
yeah, that's recent. That's recent.
That is a recent thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that happened like the last summer, maybe. It came around.
Because I was like,
it was not around when we got our friend's game on itch.io, Maddie Allen Estock. It was not around then.
Yeah, because I do a lot of game time experimenting on different shit through Itch, and it's all in folders.
Yeah.
So having like a hub for all of them, I'm like, this is just phenomenal right now.
All right, Andy, let me kick it to you for your indie game adventures. I'm going to let my voice rest a little bit.
Oh my God. Yes, let it rest. So a few things I've been playing this week. The first is the aforementioned KO the Kangaroo, which is out on the 27th, just like a week-ish away from today. So I have played a lot of 3D platforming games in my life. I would say
at least two.
I was raised, at the very most two. Less than 5, more than 2.
At most 2.
My most formative years in gaming when I was a very young teen were on the PS1 and playing games like Bubsy and Gex and Crash. And then when I evolved and Croc, and then when I got my hands on Banjo-Kazooie and Mario 64. So all of that is in my DNA. It's in my blood. And playing KO, I can say it's one of my all-time favorite 3D platformers.
Nice.
Ever. They have really done their creation justice. It's not like a cheap cash grab. Well, Crash is back with Crash 4. A Hat in Time really bumped up the genre in terms of visibility. Let's just cash in on that. Nope. It's a pure passion project, and it's oozing with charm. And KO is just a very lovable marsupial. And it's just so well designed. I'm like, I think about halfway through with the game, and I'm loving it like to pieces. And you should all buy it when it comes out in 2 weeks or in a week.
Oh, you're gonna be writing a review for DualScreens.com.
Oh, so I'm gonna tell you right now, Steven, if I have my review done by
Shut the
Friday,
fuck up. You never have your review done by
No.
any time you say you're
This is
going
it.
to, and you
This is
never
it.
send me what you say you're gonna send
this
me.
is it.
I don't even want to hear it.
This is the
This
one.
is it.
Be surprised on YouTube if all of a sudden a video review shows up.
There you go.
Be surprised. Don't expect
We're
it,
gonna
but be
That way.
surprised.
I'm gonna get you down for 2, by the way, because Matt's doing a review also for next week.
Great.
That's
Can I
true.
wait
That's
until
true.
my voice is back at least?
No, you're on a very limited. Get some fucking
Wow.
throat
I'm
spray.
really surprised that you went that hard on Andy, and then when Andy told you I was also doing a review, you didn't have anything to say.
Because you,
When
well,
Matt's the least dependable out of both of us.
no, that's
That's
not true.
true.
That is not true.
That is
Because
very
you're
true.
1 for 2.
That's fair.
Matt is 1 for 2
How is Matt 1 for 2?
because he was writing one article for 4 years and it never
How-
came out,
how
and then
many-
he wrote one PAX article.
No,
That's
no.
1 for 2.
Wait, how many
That's
t-shirt?
technically
How many
true.
t-shirt designs have you been waiting on for God
One.
knows how long?
It was
One.
just the one.
So
just
technically,
the
he's
one.
2 for 3.
That's true. It because I didn't have a timeline for the T-shirt. We just
He's
said
done
that it was
every
coming
logo
eventually.
that's asked of him, and technically every logo became a T-shirt.
Can I
That's fair.
mention my next game now? Can I move on?
Yes. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm sorry. This is why this is one of my favorite
I
podcasts. to
thought
do.
you were gonna shut up for like a minute.
sorry.
I guess I was wrong about
You
that.
you fucking
you
screwed that up.
Wow.
you be more dependable and shut the fuck
Wow.
up.
That's
Wow.
fair. That is fair.
All right.
These are all fair arguments, ladies and gentlemen.
Guys, next week on Dual Screens Versus.
You know, I wish I had a shotgun. Speaking of shotguns, if I was told when I was a kid that to be good at chess, all one needs is a shotgun,
Oh my God, this game.
I would have bought a boomstick years ago. Shotgun King is, I think, my newest favorite obsession of a game, and it's very simple. It's chess, but instead of all the pieces, you're just a king with a shotgun.
Yeah.
That is it. It is a roguelike game, and if the other chess pieces get you, you die, and you go from the beginning all over again.
Do they
I
move like
love-
chess pieces?
Yes.
Yes, they do. So let me lay it
Please
down
do.
for you, Stephen.
Please do.
So you would think being the weakest piece on the board is the king. Like the king can only move in one direction, one block at a time. At least a pawn can become a queen at some point in chess
Right.
if it goes over the threshold. But the king is the weakest because that's like it's the weak point. Is the whole, if you get the king, you win the game.
Right.
So he's weak for a reason. So you can move like a king, but this shotgun you have, it's got
Mhm.
some range. So
Yep.
let's say you're going along the board, inching slowly up one square at a time on the chessboard, and you murder a knight that's in your way, for example. You then collect the knight's soul. So you can now, if you choose to, use a move to move as a knight.
Mhm.
And this applies to the rooks and the bishops and so forth. But there's one more mechanic which I adore about this game. That is the cards. When you finish a floor or a level, you get a little perk card. And that's like, okay, cool. You get like a +5 on your shotgun, or a +2 of your ammo, or a wider spread, or a more focused spread. But the enemy board also gets a perk. Like, we're going to throw in 6 pawns also. Or every 10 turns, a queen shows up, or shit like that. And all of these things stack with each floor. So as you're getting stronger, so is your enemy. So by the time you reach the end, you can have like 20 pawns,
Yeah.
10 knights, a thing called secret heir, which is a pawn becomes the king when the king dies.
Mm.
So it's
It's
totally insane.
it's wild.
And
Like it really is. Like everybody should play this game. It's super cheap. It's like $5.
it's $6 literally.
Yeah.
And this game I think belongs on mobile. The way it plays.
100%.
I
100
think this
million
could
percent
really
agree.
crack a market because, like, I could play it right now and you guys would never know. Like, I was debating it while doing the show. Like, it's just fun. I was clicking with the mouse. It's left clicking the whole game. I could do it while doing this stupid show for like an
Wow.
hour.
Wow.
What I think is craziest about this game is when I got it, right? Like the first run I did, I was just I was like really just like clicking around, shooting shit,
Mhm.
and not really thinking about my moves. But then I was like, oh wait, it's chess, and like everything works like chess. And so,
Yes.
you know, like sometimes you're sitting there and you're playing a game, and you're like really leaning forward and you're really into it. And
Yeah.
this one is like very chess like. It's like refined. You have your foot up on your knee. You're kind of back with like you're staring at the board for a minute, waiting for your next move. And it retains chess so well, but then totally twists the idea of what a traditional chess game is on you in retaining that. It's wild.
And so I was playing it. I was showing a friend last night over Discord. I was like, "Listen, I have this game. You have to see it. You just have to see it." And he's like a chess wizard. And as we're playing, he's like, "Oh my god, they're moving like actual. It's chess moves that the AI is performing. Like those two queens are going to pin you in that corner. Like I can sense it." And after we were done with the call, he like went and bought the game like 5 minutes later. Plus, I was like tweeting about the game, and like some other guy bought it. So we're
Hell
like,
yeah.
we're just like pumping up
We're
sales.
shilling this game. Let's go.
Because it is a reminder of why I love indie games so much, is because shit like this can exist and it finds an audience, and it's just so good. It's the most indie game that ever indied.
I love the story too, right? Like it starts you off with like a really quick, like, you know, three panels of text kind of deal in a row. And it's like, you're like this disgraced king who was tyrannical. Your whole village leaves you. And like there's one guy left, and he's like, listen, we still look at you as holy or whatever, and we'll never truly turn our backs on you, but we can't stay here. And then the next thing is just like a pixel art shot of the shotgun. And it's just like, well, looks like I gotta go take care of business.
But here's the royal shotgun, my liege.
Yeah, it's so good.
Shotgun King, the final checkmate,
the
ladies and
final
gentlemen.
Checkmate.
Go.
It sounds like the
check it
sequel
out.
to a bunch of games that we never got that I want to.
It sounds like what was a spiritual spin off to like Hobo with the Shotgun.
Yeah. Hobo with a shotgun. Now, Shotgun King.
Yeah, meets like, what was that chess player name? Billy Fisher or some Fisher? What was that? Really
I don't
like
know.
that chess prodigy?
You nerd.
I don't know. I don't
Nerds and
fucking know.
turds. Yeah, that I agree with Andy though. That is a great
No, but
game.
buy it. You gotta buy it.
I'll be buying it after the show.
You got
Make
it, Steven.
bajillions on
Steven,
mobile.
you love Loop Hero so much. Like
I do.
This is like it itches the roguelike without like too much on the brain like activity.
Yeah.
It's just chess.
So I guess that's the other part, right? Is
Yeah.
that it's not bloated with stuff, right?
Mhm.
Like it's very simple mechanically, and like the cards are very self-explanatory.
Mhm.
And there's once you get the basic mechanics of, okay, I get the cards at the end of each floor,
Mm.
everything moves like chess, and like these are the perks and negatives kind of that I'm getting, and
Mhm.
the whole mechanic where you can move like a piece you just killed.
Yeah.
After that, nothing. That's it. That's the whole game.
And you can
And it's the one more run game.
there's a grenade perk that you can
Yeah,
throw
where you just
grenades.
right click to throw a
Just
grenade.
lob a grenade.
Or there's one so like, because it's a shotgun, right? You have like a wide shot arc. And there's one where you can right click and it like makes it a sniper rifle
Oh, the
for a
scope.
second.
Yeah, the scope perk. Oh, it's so goddamn good.
Yeah. Anyway, everybody
All
buy this
right.
game.
What else do we got here, handsomes?
One more game I want to mention before we move into indie newsy stuff, and that's Ravenous Devils, which I think I mentioned this a while back on maybe crossplay or something.
Matt didn't even go yet, so we're not going to the
Yeah,
news.
no. So
Oh, that's
Shotgun
right.
King was one of mine. I got two total.
Sure. Got two total.
One of mine also.
Yeah.
You stole
Ravenous
my game,
Devils.
Andy.
It's okay. It's all right. Well, we can, the shared love. It's gonna happen. We have similar tastes.
Sure,
Like
well.
first it was Revita, now it's Shotgun King. It's gonna happen. Always
okay.
overlap. So Ravenous Devils, I think Matt should play this game. It also only costs $6 on Steam, and I think it's on PS5 and Xbox, I believe. It's Sweeney Todd the game.
Oh no.
You're killing people and making them into food.
Mm-hmm.
I shit
Okay.
you not. This is the game. It was out a few weeks ago. Future guest of the show. They're booked for I think next week or the week after next. And it's incredible. You literally just kill people and turn them into food.
Okay, wait, hold on. So rewind a little bit. Is it like an action game or is it a cooking game?
Yes.
Okay.
Interesting.
Like it you like gather resources from human bodies kind of deal?
Correct.
And you have like do you have like a garden?
Wait, are you growing like limbs?
Well, no,
and,
but like you can't
organs and
just
stuff?
if it can't just be human meat, right? It has to
Matt.
have herbs and
Matt.
spices and stew things.
Matt.
Yeah.
Does it?
I don't know.
Are you sure?
I guess not.
I want to challenge you to discover it on your own. It's $6. Go take the plunge.
Okay. All right. Fine.
Do it.
I'll take it.
Do it, you
It's
coward.
well worth it.
I'll do it.
Well, what else? What do you got, Matt? What are you playing?
Yeah. What's your other one, Matt?
So I have two. So last week on Crossplay, Purger mentioned this game called Peglin, and it's a Peggle roguelike, and I was like racking my brain. I was like, this has been not that it's been done like that before, but like this type of game has been done before. And I was like, Round Guard, and I found it and I finally started playing it. They just actually hit their 2.0 update recently, and they added a bunch of other stuff to the game, but it is like a full roguelike dungeon crawling RPG as Peggle. And so the differences between Peglin that I've found in this is that like your damage output in Peglin is based on how many pegs you hit. This is more the enemies are actually on the board and you're trying to take down their health, and you have like special moves and gear that you can equip, and gear that you can find in a very Slay the Spire-y like map. Really fun, really worth checking out. Has a cool whimsical like theater presentation, like everything's a sideshow, and the characters are like really cartoony and fun. But yeah, no, it was the Peglin racked my brain. I was like, what's that game? And I ended up buying it on Switch, and I've been playing a ton of it. It's really, really fun. And you wouldn't think that Peggle would be now two different roguelike titles, but here we are.
All I have to say is long live Peggle.
Market. Yeah.
Long live Peggle. Agreed.
What was that called again, Matthew?
Round Guard.
Round Guard.
Yeah, it's
it looks really good actually. I was just watching the trailer for it.
The other
yes.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it just has like it's very fun. There's different classes you can go through, all kinds of different gear and weapons that you can pick up, different special moves
This
that all
is
does
so cute. Look at this.
Yeah, it does like a ton of different stuff. And that's what I mean. Like the style of it is very cute, and it's all presented like a side theater show. All the characters are very funny. There's a lot of great jokes. There are sideshow like type mini games that are associated with each class, which is kind of cool. And all the classes have different perks. It's very fun. And if you enjoy Peglin, or you enjoy Peggle in general, and you're looking to add dungeon crawling to that, I would suggest picking this up.
The bountiest roguelike ever made. All right, I gotta give you a shot.
Do it. It has on Steam. I'm just noticing now it has a buy Peggle roguelikes bundle.
I see that, and Peglin was part of that.
And you can get Peglin as part of the bundle.
It's a very small bundle.
Yeah, there's two games in it. That's it.
It's still technically a bundle, I guess.
Someone's like, we gotta find our bundles. No, it's just these two games.
Hey, you know what? If you like this, I almost guarantee you will also like this. All right. The other game I have on here is a game called 10 Minutes Till Dawn, which is actually a free, relatively full-featured demo for a game that's going to come out later called 20 Minutes Till Dawn. There's a game out now. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, called Vampire Survivors. And it's just like a screen-filling, kind of like the whole mechanic of the game is kiting. Like you're just kiting as much shit as possible and picking up experience as you kill stuff. As you level up, you unlock different weapons and abilities, and all these things kind of fire off, at different speeds, and they all have their own different perk trees associated with them, which is very, very fun. It's also very cheap. It's like $3. This game feels like the natural progression to that. It's an arena shooter in the same vein as that, where you're literally just kiting enemies constantly, but you can actually directly shoot. as opposed to just literally being kiting and auto stuff flying off of you.
Mm.
But in addition to the shooting, stuff is automatically flying off of you. But as you level up, you can also gain perks like haste, like faster speed, shooting double bullets, ricochet shots. There's also different characters who have different perks, like just being faster, or have different stats, like larger ammo clips. And then there's a bunch of different guns you can unlock too. And so it's a little bit of a deeper version of Vampire Survivors. And yeah, it's a good one to sink some time into, like mindless fun. You know what I mean? Like you're literally just running around shooting stuff, not thinking about anything until you level up for the next time.
Awesome. Well, speaking of mindless, the trilogy is complete, ladies and gentlemen. It is now time to get into the indie news report. And our first news bit is that My Name is Mayo 3 has finally hit the consoles and the Steams. Are either of you familiar with the My Name is Mayo games?
No.
So
what is this?
My Name is Mayo 1. The entire game is you tapping a jar of mayo like a gajillion times, and then you get a platinum trophy. And then My Name is Mayo 2, you tap a jar until you get a platinum. This game looks like an adventure, a jar of mayo adventure. It looks like it actually has a game to it.
But what is it? Where it's going in space? It's like flying through. It's like
it has shmups. It has you still have your classic mayo tapping mechanic.
My friend, there is mustard in this game though.
Well, there's also dark berry.
You guys,
concentrate.
This is a PS5, PS4 console exclusive.
That's correct. They are PlayStation. They were PlayStation Vita.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. This originally and then you get double trophies.
Console seller.
Yeah, when I got My Name is Mayo.
What is this?
Have you read the Q&A on the Steam page?
Wait a minute. So there'll be no My Name is Mayo 4? Nah, sad face.
The last one, is it really over? I had to, otherwise Mayo would expire and go bad.
Correct.
Life is like a box of mayonnaise. My mama used to say, eventually you just run out of it and it stinks up the fridge.
I like. Do I need to play the past games in the series, or can I just jump in with no context? Answer: the game is about mayonnaise. Do you really need context?
Yeah. This next story is weird. Because it kind of borderlines not indie at all, but soon to be former indie game studio, Bungie, who of course was purchased by Sony and is basically going through that whole process. They actually called out Sony regarding the anti violence. There was the shooting in Buffalo where a white male killed 10 black shoppers at a it was clearly a racially motivated thing. He had a manifesto, the whole 9 yards. But essentially comes out and says, well, so just because we're going to be owned by Sony, they're not going to silence us, because apparently Sony has silenced their developers prior when it comes to abortion rights, where they tell their studios not to publicly come for or against that in their social media or whatever. So for example, Bungie said standing up for reproductive choice and liberty is not a difficult decision to make, and Bungie remains dedicated to upholding these values. And then Sony reportedly is also offering assistance. This is from GamesIndustry.biz. Offers financial assistance to employees that need to travel for reproductive care, but will not allow studios to comment publicly on abortion rights issues. So then this was their response, Bungie's response. That's why they called out Sony, because they're like, even if and when we're owned by Sony, we are not to be. And the exact quote is, they will never be a muzzle big enough to stop us from standing up for what's right. So yeah, it looks like a little bit of shade thrown at their new corporate overlords there at Sony, Bungie and Sony. Do you think that this is I know this isn't necessarily an indie thing, but this does bring up an interesting question about indie developers when they do become something bigger than they were, when they get gobbled up and published by a larger company, that they give up some of their principles and freedoms to those companies. You think does this surprise you at all? Andy, we'll start with you.
No, I feel like it's tricky waters to navigate, because I feel on one side, as a business, you want to be you'd hopefully want to be as great as possible, because you don't want to potentially cut out a piece of your market by saying the wrong thing, quote unquote wrong thing, not saying the right thing. But then again, on the other side, like an indie team, they're all about, it's all personality. It's not just like some nameless, faceless, like big publishing arm that just pumps out games. Like there's like we know indie devs by name, and we can tie a face and the name to a small indie dev company, like for countless studios.
Mhm.
So like they put themselves in what they make, and it's like, well, these are our thoughts, these are our beliefs, this is what we think is right, and we're not ashamed of our belief system, and screw it. So like, and it's hard, because like I would imagine a big company would be like, listen, just tone down this speak, because we're trying to sell your game. We don't want to rustle any feathers. Just entertain.
I want to make it a little simpler, because I think that thinking that any company really cares about ruffling feathers, I don't think that's accurate. I think what it comes down to is,
well, ruffle feathers, which would equal less of this.
Well, no. I think even simpler is when you're a major corporation like a Sony, a Microsoft, whatever, you have just a team of lawyers guarding you at all times. Yeah. And if I'm a lawyer, I'm just like, just say nothing. Say zero, because something is always going to cause a problem. We're always going to have to do something, because literally anything you say is going to be thrown back in our face, because we're a mega corporation. So like you could come out and support like pizza is the best, and then there will be somebody that's going to be like, well, what about fucking Japanese food? Excuse me.
I love that. That's the antithesis.
I'm just saying, like, there's going to be something, and I think that corporations just overcorrect, because there are lawyers whose literal only job is to protect that corporation at all costs. That's why you have HR departments. That's why you have, company lawyers that represent people if they get deposed for literally anything. Like anything can happen in anything. It could be somebody falling down the stairs, and they have like corporate lawyers that like huddle around you. So I think this is less of a Sony corporate initiative and more of a lawyers doing lawyer things and being like, oh no, let's not do that, because it could lead to a lot of problems. But I also think in the same breath that this will probably change, just because it's a bad look altogether, and like PR is probably going to be calling the lawyers and being like, can we not worry so much about the law part and worry more about the PR part this time?
Right.
You see, I could get fully behind that, but then again, I don't have an opinion on this next thing I'm about to say. But when Sony hosts and pays for exclusive rights to debut a state of play for the new Harry Potter game, given J.K. Rowling and all of her issues,
what's
around her?
Yeah,
it's like, well, which one is it? Either you stay quiet about these things, but on this thing, we don't care. It's Harry Potter.
But
like,
so I think that argument though is that side of it is more separating the artist from the art, right? And
because she has nothing to do with that game. She's not writing the story. She's
you have the artist itself saying, "Here's how we feel about X, Y, and Z," and we're still making the art.
The thing that I guess kind of caught me about this is, so I think anybody has the right to say, you can say whatever you want. Freedom of speech doesn't necessarily equal freedom from consequences, but I think you should be able to voice your opinion. And I understand all the HR top level kind of barricading that needs to happen at larger companies. What I do think is kind of weird though is that like this like what is it, Damage 04, the guy who tweeted this was kind of like getting ahead of it. Like
Yeah,
he kind of like jumped the gun a little
he
bit.
was goading them to give this
Say
answer
something.
more or less. Yeah,
Right.
You know what I mean? And I know that like this kind of brought out that or resurfaced that Sony has had this stance in the past. But I don't think that, not that now wasn't the time, right? That's not the right way to say it, but I just don't think that his comment, he thought his comment was more impactful than it probably was.
right.
And I think it actually maybe screwed with the message that he wants to send.
Right, because the story isn't their support or what they're gonna do to like stand up for the justice. It's now the story is Sony silences their devs. Like that's what.
Yeah, it like took the spotlight away from
Yeah.
what
Right,
that
which wasn't
point
even
was.
the point he was making. It was like, oh, I hope you're not muzzled by Sony. And then it was like, well, we
No,
can't-
ain't nobody muzzling
ain't no one
me.
gonna put baby in a corner, like whatever.
Yeah.
But you know, I really don't care. Like, if you want to be political and talk about your opinions on political subjects or things that are in like the current zeitgeist, like be it abortion or racially motivated attacks, that's fine. You do that, but all I ask for is consistency across the board. So if you're gonna, don't pick and choose which tragedies to support because they're politically expedient. Like if you're going to denounce a racially motivated attack, you must also now denounce every racially motivated attack, because otherwise, what's the point? So I would hope from now on, if there are other ones, no matter who is the one doing it, the perpetrator, no matter what color their skin is, that you also denounce them as well for the same exact reason. Otherwise, it's just shallow and hollow and pointless, if you ask me.
Word.
It's a weird one. It's a weird one. Let's move on to happier things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's.
Shatter
very
Remastered
deep.
Deluxe. Andy, you remember Shatter?
Oh my god, I know Shatter.
Shatter Remastered Deluxe.
It's deluxe and remastered.
Yeah,
The greatest
it's
breakout
remastered
game
No
that ever
idea.
was.
Deluxe. It's coming to Steam and consoles with never before seen additives, as it were. It is coming
Is that what it says?
in late.
Additives?
No,
Yeah,
no.
is it like a fruit juice?
Yeah,
artificial
Yes,
flavors
now
or
with
additives?
artificial
Whatever.
flavors.
Yeah, very confused there.
So yeah, it's coming late 2022 on Windows and Mac for PC via Steam. It's coming to Switch, PlayStation 4, 5, Series X and S, and Xbox One. These games are really cool. I mean, Brick Breakers. They're
Right.
you get it. If you've played them, you get it. But they do a really good job with this one.
Is there a shotgun? I don't care if there's no shotgun in it. I
They're-
could do a brick breaker with a shotgun. I mean,
Technically,
there
there's
kinda
a
is,
shotgun.
yeah.
Kind of. But like the cool thing is like there's a lot of really cool patterns. They do a lot of good work with. It's not just a stack of bricks that you have to break. They do spherical patterns, and there's kind of like boss fights a little, in it
There's
as well.
a little bit of geometry wars in
Yeah.
the DNA of this game for
Yeah,
sure.
Oh,
And then
exactly.
there's like some really cool like physics based shit you can do
Mhm.
with the ball bouncing back and forth. Like you can like catch it and release it almost, but like not really. Like you can influence its curve a little
Yeah,
bit.
like if you like graze it, it'll make the projectile kind of spin in that direction. So if it hits something, it ricochets a certain way. Like there's a lot of cool things you could do. I just think that this game is so much fun, and it was announced literally yesterday that it was coming at the end of the year. So keep your eyes open for that fun little press release that we got. Let's just keep moving around. Oh, there's another game that was announced. Guys, I put the press kit in the thing. It's called Spirit Tea.
that looks good.
Yeah, it's from No More Robots. And the studio Chessmaster Games, you've heard of them. No More Robots did Hypnospace, Descenders. This is Stardew Valley meets like what was the word that they actually like this what's that game, the spirit game,
Spiritfarer?
Oh, Spirited Away. I think they mentioned in the
yes.
Oh, the
This
movie?
is
this
is all about trying, it's kind of like ferrying, getting ghosts and spirits to like move on to the next plane, but you're finding local NPCs and spirits to help. There's all different hobbies, bug catching, karaoke. I mean, this game just looks adorable as hell.
All right, I just want to. So I opened up the gifts folder to this to the press kit, and there are, I don't know what's going on, but there are multiple gifts in this gift folder of this kid just carrying like a massive towel
with the laundry.
Yeah, like it's just.
Like the spirits are a little weird. It's a little bit bizarre. But I just think it has a really good spirit to it.
Yeah, that's good. Also, No More Robots, publisher of one of my favorite games, Let's Build a Zoo. So those guys know quality shit.
Hell yeah, they do.
They know good indies when they see them.
Quality poop.
Quality poop, indeed.
The best towel carrying gameplay you've ever seen.
Yeah, the best.
This really does look very fun
Yeah.
though. I'm looking forward to it.
You could Google that. Put that in your Google machine. It's Spirit Tea, like in
Spirit Tea,
like the drink tea. What else we got? Oh, this one was really cool. You remember Hellpoint, right, Andy?
No, I know a game called Dolmen that's going to replace, that should be what this game should be, but continue.
Interesting. Okay, well, Hellpoint is the horror action RPG. It's getting its next gen release, and it is getting DLC at the same release. It's coming July 12th. It is going to be coming to the series consoles and the PlayStation 5.
I don't remember this game at all.
I have it on Steam. This game, if you don't have a really good PC, this game just does not look and play very good at all.
Okay.
So like it coming to next gen consoles, they're promising 4K 60 FPS, ray tracing, the whole 9 yards. So, and load time, like lightning fast load time. So like this is sort of like the way the game was supposed to be played if you either souped up high-end PC or this one, or this new next console. Really cool game. I did like what I played. It is Souls-like. It has a lot of cyberpunkish like horror elements to it.
So I'm watching the trailer for the next gen upgrade and the Blue Sun DLC.
Yes, the Blue Sun DLC. Yep.
They teased this like special guest at the end of it, and I'm thinking it is a Tiny Build published game.
So no.
I'm really wondering who they're getting, either from like the entire Tiny Build like library of games.
Ramen.
Ramen. I mean, I want that.
I'm gonna murder you with my Cthulhu noodle.
But regardless, first massive DLC for this game. It's a whole new locale, whole new story to play through. It looks like it's going to be a really cool time to like jump into this game, because it is a very polished video game. Like it's one of those things that like,
yeah,
if it just had the big monster behind it pushing it, like I'm shocked like Xbox doesn't want this for themselves,
right?
That kind of thing.
I think that it wasn't well optimized, and it had its fair share of bugs when it first came out. Like, we played it at PAX East freaking two plus years ago, and it looked a little like, okay, this needs a little bit of work. Then it came out and it got the work, but it needed more work. And I feel this is what is going to push it to like its full potential. It does look a lot better. And,
I think the Elden Ring crowd is gonna eat this up because they all
It's the right
have
time.
Elden
It's the
Ring.
right time for it to.
Right,
Yeah.
and they're gonna want that next experience
Yeah.
and for their
But-
PS5s and Xbox Series X
You know,
and all
like
that
I
stuff.
said, but we got Dolmen like in 2 days. Also,
Yeah, but this is July, so
Yeah.
like, you know, we have a few months.
oh, we can do both.
Yes, we can do both. And
Walk
Dolmen,
and chew gum.
Dolman, dope, Doleman,
Dopeman.
Dopeman. Speaking of dope, we got 2 Kickstarter games of the week, 2, because somebody went rogue and put a second one in here.
Listen,
Well, he does like the roguelikes, so
I do.
It's true.
I needed to put this one in because it only has 5 days left.
We'll talk
on
about
its- Yeah, I know. I'm just saying. That's why I
Talk
just, that's
about
why
it,
I
you
put,
coward.
Fine.
It's got 7 days to go.
All right, it's got 7 days to go. So this, I like stumbled across this while I was just like kind of hanging out on Kickstarter, actually looking at board games, and I saw the art. It's called Underling Uprising, and I saw the art and it looked, I don't know, whimsical, kind of cool. It has like a really cool vibe to it. And then I saw it was a beat 'em up, and I was like, oh shit, this looks fucking amazing. And then I saw all the characters have like really deep, unique powers. I was like, this looks way amazing. And like the deeper I got into it, kind of like the more I really wanted to bring it to the show.
I get
to
Scott
kinda-
Pilgrim vibes.
Yeah, totally. I could totally see that. Yeah, I just wanted to bring it to the show because it seems like something that we would all love to play and that people I would love for you guys to talk to. And it's so close to its goal, and I would love to see this funded.
So I'm gonna. Your pitch should have been: you play as a monkey on a skateboard and a living snot.
Yeah, Living Snot is one of the characters. Yeah, that is 100% true. I mean, and so the other
It's like
part of
the
it too, though,
ultimate sales pitch.
is like they're all like, when I say they're all like unique and different characters, like one of them is like literally a dude in like a mech suit who just smashes shit. One is like the spirit lady who can kind of like float and has like a familiar, and she can like, she's apparently really good at holding stuff in place, and it just seems like a great not necessarily evolution of that style of gameplay, the beat 'em up gameplay, but it just seems like a cool take with some unique characters, where when you're playing with different characters, you can really do a lot of different stuff, combo and like team up together.
Well, it looks like there's a demo of it on
There is.
itch.io. So
There's a demo
gonna-
of it linked at the bottom of the Kickstarter
yeah,
too. Yeah,
I'm gonna do that like while we're here, and I'm also gonna throw like $100 their way.
there you go.
'cause Why not?
Well, that gets
yeah,
them a fifth of their way to their goal
They're
because they
almost
only
there.
need $500.
I ain't
That's
that
true.
generous. I ain't
Yeah,
that
so
generous.
just I don't know if I'll throw the link unless
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
already did. Somebody already did.
Yeah, I put it in there.
Um,
Oh, they have
It just look-
Pogs as a reward for $80.
they also have collectible
collectible cards. Oh my god.
Yeah. See, this is so literally, Steve, when we were talking about the one last week and I was looking at the rewards for this, I was like, ah, shit. Steve's going to love this too.
Yeah.
You could buy the actual
I do love
skateboard that
beat
the
'em
monkey
ups.
rides. But yeah, I don't know. I just, I felt like this could use a little bit of a shout out considering
Heck
how
yeah.
close it is
Do
and
it.
how much I think everybody that we know that listens to the show would like it.
Well, here's one that has a little bit more of a ways to go, and they have destroyed their goal. And that is Cattails Wildwood Story.
Oh my god.
Yes, Steam and Nintendo Switch. You lead a
You're a
colony
cat.
of cats. No, you're a colony of cats.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Why?
Lead your colony of cats into the mysterious wildwood, stalk prey to find food, defend your new home from dark intruders, and discover fresh herbs and ancient treasures. Build a thriving town for all cats to call home.
There's cat combat.
Get to know residents, fall in love, and raise a litter of kittens.
Oh my god, you guys, this thing.
And it's pixel art, and it's beautiful.
It has pixel art.
Wait.
Mama cat picking up baby cat by the nape of its neck.
Sure does.
and we need to say when you said they smashed their goal, guys. They asked for 30K. They're approaching $200,000.
Yeah.
22 days left to go.
It's insane.
Holy shit.
Let's talk about their stretch goals. They got the Museum of Curiosities. Collect rare human artifacts and donate them to Glimmer's Museum. So that's like an Animal Crossing situation. New resident, meet your new neighbor. We'll add an extra NPC for you to befriend or romance. Ooh. New Game Plus, Generations. Keep your adventure going by starting a new game as one of your kittens. That's fucking dope. So now it's Rogue Legacy. Rival marriages.
Holy crap.
Certain colony cats may eventually get together and have their own kittens. So you have other families sprouting up. And then for 200k, expanded mines, new caves and additional challenges, enemies and floor types will be available to explore where treasures await inside. And this is getting mainstream attention from IGN, Kotaku, Destructoid, PC Gamer, Nintendo Life. All of the things that all the indie games would love to get.
Like Stardew Valley, except cats.
Yeah, basically.
So wait a minute. Is this a sequel? Because there is a game. Like, I'm looking at their press kit. There is a game called Cattails that was released on Steam in 2017.
Maybe, I don't know.
And this one's called Cattails Wildwood Story. So is it like just a follow up to like their first game? Because
it's very possible.
Yeah.
This is made by Falcon.
Yes, same people. Yeah, Falcon Development. Yeah.
Yep.
So then it definitely is.
Yeah.
But it looks amazing.
Oh yes, a standalone sequel. Okay, all right, there it is.
Kickstarting a standalone sequel.
There it is. Yep.
Yes, and it's got a social panel where you can have your relationship. This is dope.
There's so much.
These guys are being emailed like when the show is over. So I'm just gonna scroll down. And oh, look at that. You have your email right in the press kit. I love
how beautiful. We do have, let's go on to reader questions because we do actually have one.
Yes, we do.
It's a good one too.
So let's go over here.
Don't make it's like it never happened. Someone actually gave us a question this week.
Well, we have one for this brand new show.
Yeah, it's been 3 shows. This is the third
show we have. 3 whole shows.
Right. This comes from Josh in our Discord. He's one of the our former guests of the Dual Screens podcast. Excuse me. You know what, Matt? Take the question because my throat is killing me.
Shit, I gotta go get it.
It's in Discord.
Yeah, I know.
Unless Andy already has it open.
Mailbag.
I have it open. I can read it if you want to, Matt.
All right, go for it.
Okay. Xbox's Game Pass has been huge for indies. What I've heard from other devs is that smaller/shorter titles seem to do especially well on there, where players in other markets may have expectations for longer experiences. So in a way, it seems like Game Pass is even starting to change the way indie games are made, with made for Game Pass being a viable business strategy, a pretty profound effect from a one subscription service. Now, with Sony launching the new PS Plus to compete with Game Pass, which is debatable, what effect do you think or hope we'll see on the indie scene? And what can Sony do to make sure they seize the opportunity to be successful with indies like Game Pass has? This is a great question.
Yeah.
Love.
I want to lead off. Like, I don't think that they're launching it to compete with Game Pass. You're probably right there, but they're definitely launching it in a reaction to Game Pass for sure. I don't think that there's any debating that.
Yeah.
But I think that this is a symptom of people not needing to pay directly for a game, right? Like your expectations are lowered because you're paying for the bundle of the idea of Game Pass, right? You're not saying I'm spending $60 on this game. It better have 70 hours worth of content for me. You're saying, hey, I'm paying $15 a month or $17 a month for access to 200 and however many games, you know what I mean? And if this little indie title is like 4 hours long and I can play through the whole thing in one sitting, that's a cool little bonus to all these other huge games that I get.
Right. And the thing is, part of the question here is that it's driving the indie developers to make smaller games so that they could sell more of them to these services, make their money up front, and fund their next project. Like this is kind of like the mobile market. And that's the part that's scaring me a little bit, is that developers are starting to want to churn more of these smaller experiences, like in mobile, where we got a clone of the same game, and people kept downloading them and watching ads and all that stuff, except Microsoft is like paying up front for it. Sony pays up front for it. So where they used to give 100 grand for a game that was 8, 10, 12 hours long, are they going to pay 100 grand now for a game that's 3, 4, 5 hours long? Because now the developer can make parts 1, 2, and 3 in 12 months. What does that do to the quality of the game? Does it matter? Because it's free in the bundled service, so does it really matter? Will this now bring the cost of getting a game onto this service down because there's going to be more opportunity, for games to be churned out quicker? Those are kinds of the things that I worry about in that sort of ecosystem. It's great for the consumer right now because the developers had already been developing games for years before Game Pass was a massive shill for indies. And shill's a negative word, but you get what I mean. It's like, a lot of people play indies for the first time on Game Pass.
Right. Because they wouldn't have bought otherwise.
Right. So now that like developers are going to start now it's not one of those things that you could just automatically publish on, obviously. But developers that have a good relationship with Microsoft might be like, hey, we got another game. Here it is. And it was thrown together in, 6 months because they know that they only need a 5-hour experience. People like it. They'll play it, and they'll move on, and then they'll have the next one, ready for them. That's sort of what I worry about in the indie scene. I hope it stays with a curated, list, and it's not just quantity because Microsoft wants to outdo, Epic or PlayStation or the other way around, or if PlayStation doesn't just gobble up a bunch of games just so they could say they have 50 indie games that Game Pass doesn't have.
I think kind of to that point, right, is that if you do start seeing this kind of the push for shorter games really affecting the development of the quality of the games, you're going to start seeing like a depreciation in the public interest in that service, right? So you kind of want to always have that balance of not that balance, but you want to always, like you said, curate the games that are going to be on your service so that it's just not full of trash. Kind of like a good example, I guess, would be the Nintendo eShop, right? Is like, it's not particularly curated. It's very hard to navigate, and finding good games on there is very hard. It's like one thing that indie developers complain about a lot is the visibility on that store.
Right.
And I know that that's a different problem, but I think taking a hit in quality with games hits the quality of the overall service pretty hard.
Yeah, and before I kick it to Andy, like the main part of the question is, it seems like Game Pass is starting to change the way indie games are made, with quote made for Game Pass being a viable business strategy. So like, this is an indie developer with indie developer contacts that knows for a fact that indie developers are deciding to make design choices specifically to make them bite-sized experiences for Game Pass. So I mean, it's happening whether we like it or not, but what's
just
this over
quickly before I guess Andy kicks in. There is a chance also though that this could lead to developers being able to make games that are more in line with the vision of what they want to make, as opposed to trying to fill out a value proposition.
True. Yeah, true.
Yeah, I'm also like wondering like Sony's whole approach to this, if it will be in line with how they handle like their first party studios, because PS Plus Premium, you can say it's a competitor to Game Pass, but we all know it's not doing a one for one what they're doing on Microsoft side. They're not releasing their first party games day and day on the service for the time being, unless the market changes somehow and they feel like our games aren't selling as much. Now we got to put them on the service to bolster our numbers, get more players, etc. Because when I look at the kind of indie games that make big splashes on Game Pass, like a recent one, Death's Door, for example, was a huge game. It had like, I believe, 200K players in its first couple of days premiering on Game Pass. It was exclusive to Xbox and for the console, then on Steam as well. But PlayStation has games like Sifu and Kino, which aren't in any kind of premium service, that aren't free, but the Sifu had like 1 million copies sold like a very short period of time. So would Sony say, well, we want to have indies on our service, but there's all these sales too for the really good indie games that we kind of curate and nurture and support and give marketing to. So do you want to undercut those sales and just be like, now we just want indies on our thing to give them away and to have a huge catalog of games, like screw quality? Or are they going to want to pursue the quality indies, but then also not put them on their service as day and date?
Right. It's weird.
It's strange, because I think I would really love if it's this made for Game Pass or made for PS Plus Premium, if that's where we go. I would love for indie studios to work with Sony or Microsoft. Like, here's Banjo-Kazooie, indie dev. Like, make us a cute game that's like fun and short and like respects the IP, and we can put it on Game Pass. Here's Ape Escape, developer. Like, make a game. We'll give you a budget and we'll put it on Plus Premium as a free game for the month, and we'll charge $20 retail or $40 retail. Like, that's what I want to see happen in the indie space with these services. Not let the developer dumb down their game so it's marketable to Sony or Game Pass to get a bag of money to debut on your service, and then that's it. And then you walk away, and then you're done. That's what I want to happen. Because like the eShop, I feel there's just a lot of garbage that it's hard to sift through. I don't want that for PlayStation or Microsoft for that matter. I want carefully curated games that are quality games. And if you want to throw money at them to get them on your service, fine, but no one should chase that carrot. Let's if your goal is I want to be on Game Pass, you're off to a bad start. I want to be on Plus Premium, you're off to a bad start. They should be courting you, like, why do we want your game on our service? Why is it good? Why is it worth investing in? But this whole thing is very tricky.
I feel like that's a Microsoft way of doing it, because we've noticed that, and a PlayStation way as far as PS Plus monthly games go, with like the 3 games or whatever. But I feel like Sony, more generally speaking about indies, they're more of a investing in the studio, not buying the game.
Yes, because whenever we had this, like, Microsoft, it's a rapid fire. Here's 20 new games premiering on Game Pass.
And Nintendo does the exact same thing, by the way.
Here's 20 games coming to Game Pass, and they're all indies, and it's like a sizzle reel of like a lot of games, like half are forgettable, but that's selling a service. You're not selling me on the game itself. Like, Sony sold me on Kina, on Sifu, on Fist, and soon Tachia when it comes out this summer. Like, I'm all about those indie games, not like, oh, cool, now I know why I pay for Game Pass, because it has all these games. Like, what are the games? I don't fucking know. I'll try them, I guess, at some point, but I'll download them, play them once, maybe.
It's different philosophies, but I wonder which one's more viable for the actual developer.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my question, right? Is like, so do you think then that in also not like directly competing with Game Pass, that they're not going to follow that philosophy, and that they are going to continue to invest as opposed to offer money directly, like, hey, we'll buy your game for Game Pass for X amount of dollars for exclusivity? You don't think that they're going to try to lure indie devs in with that at all?
I mean, I think they would, because again, like, this is all a brand new thing. Like, they're really like this whole merger of PS Now and Plus, and now we're starting to see, like, with their huge library of games, like, if they don't do it, then Microsoft will. They're gonna snatch it up. So it's like, what can you do? Like, either you don't snatch up the game and it goes to your competitor, and it could be the next big game. So it's very tricky.
It is
very tricky. Yeah.
Well, that's going to bring us to the end of the show. That's a really good debate. Maybe we should see what Josh thinks of that, and maybe he responds to it in our Discord, which you can join, patreon.com/NDS podcast. That's going to bring us to the end of the show.
Money.
Speaking of cash dollars.
Speaking of that dollar bills, yo.
Ninja Tito, thank you for the kind comments saying great answers. Buzz Killing. Actually, you know what? Let's kick it to the chat. Miss Envy says it's a good way to showcase a game studio, and if it does well on Game Pass, they can then buy that studio for their next projects. That's not what happens on Microsoft's side more often. That more often than not happens on Sony's side. Sony seems to like to gobble up studios like Housemarque, you know? Like they were like, Housemarque, we like that game, bring it over here. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
we like that game, bring it over here. And then they're like, we like you, bring you over here.
That was like years and years of cultivating that relationship.
Right.
Like,
and I think that is expedited, right? Like that process now has to be faster
now
than ever.
More than ever. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Buzz Killington, who has been brought off of the island of no return, says Microsoft is sort of changing there too. A lot of the upcoming projects, and he says projects in quote, are direct partnerships with Microsoft. So it's more like investing in the studio rather than buying a done game. That is true, but I feel like that's more true of their acquisitions of studios rather than their support of indies outright. That's like more of their acquisition strategy rather than their game publishing strategy. I guess they kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Right?
One thing actually very quickly I want to talk about on that is that from what I've heard, at least, Sony is much more difficult to deal with as far as like smaller indies, whereas I've heard that Xbox is actually much easier to kind of work with as a smaller indie developer.
Right.
I would imagine because they want, I think it's all about, it's that curation, quality versus quantity kind of thing. Like if you're about padding the numbers,
right. You're gonna make it easier.
Your better eventually will be much easier. But like when you have a standard, again, not to say there's no standard at Microsoft, but when there's a standard at Sony,
there's no standard at Nintendo. We know that. Like they throw up like,
are you
67
cent
Netflix
games? They're the Netflix of games, man. Like, you want to put your game here? Sure, put it on here.
Yeah, that's
change
rough.
the colors of this clock.
Calculator,
$3.
Put it out. We'll put that shit on here.
Ninja Tito is Josh, so there you go. We got the thumbs up. Appreciative of the answers, and we're appreciative of all of you listeners and viewers. Thank you so much again. If you want to send us email, you want to email us questions, feedback@ndspodcast.com. You can also follow us on Twitter @dual_screens. We're gonna put up a thread the day that we record every day that you can respond to. If one of you guys, while I'm doing the rest of the rigmarole, wants to check that, because I actually didn't check that for questions. If you want to just check to see if we got any questions for that, that'd be great. If you want to follow us on Facebook or like our Facebook group, it's facebook.com/groups/DS podcasts. Andy is at Pantsky. Matt is at Mr. Nuff. You could follow, and he also, are you back to streaming yet, Matt?
Not yet, but I'm trying to get that done shortly. I'm like recording some music, and then this whole review thing that Andy sent me on has sent me I'm in a tizzy.
You're in a tizzy. All right. Well,
you know what I love is like Matt goes to me, "Can you get me this game?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll try." And then okay, can I say a quick story before you go? It's like a really good story.
Oh, bonus content
story. So
don't go anywhere.
So Matt asked me for a review code for a game called Samurai Bringer, which is a fucking adorable,
looks dope,
fancy Musashi looking, which is all sorts of crazy.
I like it.
And he's like, Andy, I like this, and I was like, no. First, I was like, hey guys, if you have any like key requests to the staff, just let me know and I'll ask. And Matt was
Andy,
like,
this one.
That was like 5 seconds later. Andy, this I want.
Literally.
I want, comma, get. You know, that's what he said. So I did some searching for the publisher, which is Playism. And I was like, okay, I know Playism. There must be like a PR contact. I did a search. I'm like, cool, Evolve. Awesome. I was like,
yeah, we know Evolve.
I was like, hey, you 12 Evolve guys on this email thread. Can I get a review code for Samurai Bringer? And they're like, we're not doing that. That's not one of our games, bro. I was like, awkward.
Color
I
me
was
embarrassed.
Yeah, I was like, oh, sorry. Keep doing good stuff with indie stuff. So I went to Twitter and I found their Discord, and I was like, cool, Discord. And I literally went, who's in charge here? Who did I ask for press coverage? And some guys like, that's me. And I was like, DM, yo, what's up? Give me code. And then he was
okay, listeners, viewers, that is not how this went. He did not just say, give me code.
It was, listen, there was some formalities in there, but I'm just giving you the shorthand.
Hello, give me code
But
now.
the funny shit was,
That is not how that works.
the funny shit was, he was like, what's your website? Here's the site. He was like, cool. I'd like to verify your email to make sure it's you that's asking for the code.
Oh, that's
never,
cool.
Never in all of my life.
Well, you are a jackass, so I get
Of course. But I've been like doing game reviews, like even before dual screens, like years and years ago.
Since 2009.
Yeah. And I've never been asked to verify like my email address, because the idea of someone saying, hi, I'm from IGN, give me a code for like,
oh yeah, okay.
for like Horizon. Oh yeah, sure. Here you go. So verified the email. I'm like, here's my email. Wrote back. Okay, you're you. Here's code.
Nice.
And that's how it went down. And then I told Matt, here's your code. I was like, oh, so now Matt has 2 games that he's got to review.
Oh boy.
And he asked for one specifically. So
I did.
Yeah, we'll see who's dependable, who's not in a couple of weeks.
I have 3 kids.
We shall. Hey, fucker! 3 kids, my ass. You play
I know,
games.
You're like your balls off. I know.
I will say that I am dangling this new code because Matt hasn't finished his first review yet. So when that's
just
done,
got the code yesterday.
Exactly. But when you get that done, you get the new one.
Yeah, that's fair.
You got to get the little carrot on the stick.
Speaking of getting the new one, you could get this podcast next week when we do another episode right here on twitch.tv/dual screen streams. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, viewers. And as always, please play indies.